I want to start this video by being 100% transparent with you guys. Over the last year or so, I've fallen victim to the sports betting craze that's seemingly taken the younger generation by storm. And before anyone assumes the worst, I was never gambling money I couldn't afford to lose. But even then, it was still becoming a problem. For my own personal experience, I was on average playing about $10 a day. $10 a day doesn't sound like much. Most people wouldn't even think twice about it. But $10 a day turns into $300 a month, and over a year, that's $3,500. That's money just disappearing for the most part. And I'd be lying if I said that I never won. I mean, sometimes I did, but as the old saying goes, the house always wins. Once I actually sat down and looked at how much time and money I was putting into this, I realized how dumb sports betting really was for me, and that's the realization that made me want to make this video. Because it isn't just a me problem, it's an epidemic, and it's taking over the younger generation by storm. As we all know, gambling has existed forever, but it used to be something you had to go out of your way to do. Now, it's literally in your pocket at all times, 24/7. According to recent studies, over 60% of sports bettors now place bets online, and the fastest growing demographic is adults between 18 and 34. That's my generation, and it's not an accident. In 2023 alone, sports betting companies spent billions and billions of dollars on advertising in the US. The number actually comes out to be more than alcohol and fast food companies paid for their ads specifically during major sporting events. That's insane to think about. We're pretty much being marketed gambling the same way that fast food and cigarettes have been marketed in the past. I think that kind of perfectly leads me into my next point, and that's that sports betting ads are everywhere. I'm sure that you guys have seen the ads, whether it's on TV, YouTube, TikTok, or even when you're just trying to enjoy a sporting event. And you guys know exactly which ones I'm talking about. They're the ones that grab your attention and tell you, oh, if you bet $5, you'll get 500 back. Or worst of all, the ones that glorify being able to bet on anything. It's everywhere. I can't even watch football anymore without every other commercial either being DraftKings, Prize Picks, or Kalshi. And when something is constantly shoved in your face, your brain starts to normalize it. Psychologists actually call this the mere exposure effect. The more you see something, the safer and more acceptable it feels, even if it's harmful. And that's not an accident. That's by design. Here's something that really puts that into perspective. If you had a friend going to the casino every weekend, most people would say, yeah, they've got a problem. But throwing down a parlay every weekend, well, that's just considered normal now. Nobody questions it. And these companies are making money hand over fist off ordinary people like you and me. As a matter of fact, reports show a small percentage of users account for the majority of betting revenue, meaning the industry relies heavily on people who bet often and lose often. That should tell you everything that you need to know. Thankfully for me, and I hope anyone out there watching this video, I recently started to actually care about my future financially and mentally. I've been doing a lot of research on how to build wealth for retirement and how to be better with my money. And once it did, it hit me on how many better places I could be putting my money to help me move forward. Better gear for videos, music equipment, investments, and more importantly, investing in myself. Here's an example that kind of will jog your brain a little bit. If somebody's gambling $10 a day, invested that same $10 a day into a basic index fund instead of betting, over time that could turn into tens of thousands of dollars thanks to compound interest. When on the other side of that, they're pretty much throwing that money away in hopes that they hit on a 50 times parlay, which the odds of that happening are pretty much slim to none. Here's some food for thought for you. Studies consistently show that the average sports bettor loses money in the long term, regardless of how good they actually think their picks are. That means that even if you think that you're good, you're probably not as good as you actually think. And I think besides losing money, the biggest thing for me was the amount of time that I was losing. Like a lot of people, I'd do research before placing my bets and building parlays, and then I'd obsessively check stats before and during
Studies show that frequent
gamblers spend multiple hours per day either researching bets or thinking even when they're not actively playing. I'd complain about not having enough time to do the things that I cared about, all the while I was spending 2+ hours a day staring at my phone or watching games that I didn't necessarily care about. I think that kind of goes hand in hand with the other side effects of this, and that's the mental side. And I feel like it doesn't get talked about as much. Research has linked frequent gambling to higher levels of anxiety, stress, and depression, especially in young adults, and it makes sense. You're constantly riding emotional highs and lows based off things that you can't even control. The wins feel great, losses feel awful, and most of the time, you end up losing anyway. And even when you win, most of the time it doesn't even hit because you feel like you almost needed to win to make that money back that you've already lost. It's an emotional roller coaster and it adds up over time. If any of this sounds familiar, I want you to seriously reflect on how much time and money you're spending on this. Because time is one thing we'll never get back. And I can almost guarantee you guys, your time and money are better spent learning a skill, building something creative, spending time with the people you love, or investing in yourself. If you've made it to the end of this video, I hope it's either opened your eyes to a problem you didn't realize you had, or helped you avoid falling into it altogether. Just remember this, the house always wins, and no bet will ever outperform investing in yourself. If you found this video helpful, leave a like and subscribe. It really does help the channel. And if you're still watching, I'd love for you to leave a comment sharing your experiences with sports betting or your thoughts on where it's all heading. I know this was more of a serious video than usual, but it's something I felt like I needed to say. I've seen the effects on my generation and lived it myself. I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.